To all the honorable judges, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's such a great pleasure for us, Dinnovation, to present our idea for these challenges. Our team is coached by Alex and Tom, and we are consist of Rachel, Janelle, Fortuna, Jever, and Andra. Our presentation today will go through first with the problem statement and last slide for the SWOT analysis. So let's check it out. Pharmaceutical Universal Export is a CMO that produces variety of solid pharmaceutical products and dietary supplements. Here, Dinnovation is asked by the Board of Management to scout for a solution that can contribute to achieve the 2021 business target. So, for the current operation in this company is still facing a significant problem with paperwork and also hybrid documentation management system. To eliminate this gap, we identified that transformation of paper batch record to EBR will have a great impact. If we take a look on this fishbone diagram, it shows us some of non-added value activities that commonly happen during paper batch record implementation. For instance, personnel may not realize if the protocol pages tag together, and there are some sections are skipped and become the missing entry. Another example is like when there is not enough space available to input the IPC data in the paper batch records and having difficulties in reading the personnel's bad handwritten. These barriers will require an additional step for clarifying the correct data input. Here, we also emphasize some premises, which are all the solutions must meet the current good manufacturing processes, requirement, and data integrity standards. And we also make some assumptions to specify our proposal, which are presented on the screen. Based on these challenges, Dinovation comes up with a solution which is entitled as Implementation of EBR System with Technological Enhancement in Raw Material Dispensing and in Process Quality Control. For the detailed explanation of our proposal will be presented by my teammate. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see for the procedural controls. Batch records are produced alongside the actual pharmaceutical or dietary supplement. The master batch record acts as the recipe and checklist for production. It is the documentary evidence of the compliance to CGMP and encompasses elements from production and other functions within the company, such as customer relation, quality, engineering, procurement, and planning as seen here, where orange are quality, pink are production, and gray are engineering documents. The main elements of the batch record found in blue, green, and red, BMR. For a paper-based batch recording system, as in the problem, attachments are made in the form of sticker papers of line clearance, thermal paper printouts of IPQC, actual packaging labels and boxes, and other independent records. Also, separate manufacturing and packaging records are usually generated for CMOs that market to different countries with different regulations in labeling and packaging requirements. Second-person verification is also required to ensure completion of checks and processes, making production tedious and review lengthy. A batch document is a living document and depends on the validated state of the process. From the current procedural controls of a paper-based system, we want to move into systemic controls by an electronic batch record. And for the systemic controls, for an electronic batch record, the system is set up to integrate the different steps into a smoother flow of events by capturing data contemporaneously and storing them securely in a cloud database for further processing. As in paper-based, the EBR documents, the RM composition, equipment and material list, personnel log, line clearances at the start and end of operation, environmental monitoring, unit processes and their IPQC, field reconciliation, and FG release. Post-production review is easier since data is already in electronic format, so no need to browse through stacks of paper, and SOPs and work instruction may also be viewed in the hardware used. And this is our first element, resources. which consists of workforce or human resource, machinery, equipment, and tools.
The second element is the information system. Its improvement will be composed of three parts: building the IoT infrastructure, digitizing the paper-based data, and implementation. The building of the IoT infrastructure will be done by improving the IoT backbone via investment in low-cost, low-power wide area networks. Strengthening of the cybersecurity. This will be performed by restricting the use of internet on the connected devices, creating a separate network for IoT devices, defending IoT devices against identity spoofing, implementing a one-way trust principle, and creating user access and credentials. Lastly, improving the cloud database will be done via expansion. Digitizing the paper-based data will need investment in hardware. These will be used to convert handwritten or printed data into digital form. These include iPad Air, scanners, and computers. Investment in hardware and software used for data extraction. The software will collect the important information from the digital form and compile them into the needed format. The implementation of the digital document management system via IT-OT convergence will require the following: deployment of wireless technology on the factory floor, use of a software as the EBR, use of iPad to monitor inputted data in EBR. While the preparation will be done remotely, there will be people on site that will implement the new technology. The unit processes that will use this improved system are raw material supply chain, dispensing, and in-process quality control. For the raw material supply chain, QR codes will be assigned and printed to the containers. To make the identification easier, iPads will be used to identify them. For dispensing, load cell sensors will be procured and installed into weighing scales. These load cells will collect the weight automatically and send them to the EBR. The weight will be instantly deducted from the ERP to ensure accurate inventory. For the IPQC, the recording process becomes automated by taking a picture of the thermal paper and converting it into PDF format. The information from the PDF will be then extracted using software. After the information is extracted, the data can be graphed into control charts.
For the organization and processes, as part of the holistic control strategy and life cycle approach, we have created a mind map of elements included in the batch record as previously shown. Through our examination of the processes and sources of data, documents, functions, and pain points, we have identified desired features to be integrated in the ECBR application, while also considering the non-value adding activities of paper-based documentation. So the next slide will show the features that are in line with the data integrity by design principle, and the electronic data generated will support continuous process verification. So for the next part, culture.
So the fourth element is about culture. So this is our culture management process: plan, do, check and review, and also communicate. So for the first point is planned. We need someone who can support to successfully enact culture change. So that's why we need a leader. And also we need to understanding behavior as a derivative of culture. So they will help us to set up the mindset and attitudes to all the stakeholders. And also we need holistic approach. So this is about leader. So leader is someone that create a quality vision, share the quality vision throughout the organization. So the leader is someone that help employees understand where they are going and why, coupled with measuring progress or feedback against the plan. So this is about mindset and attitudes. It's really important because they help us to raise awareness of the need to assess, monitor, and shape in the organization to improve and sustain cultural performance. And the second point is do. So the first thing that we can do is make culture workshops. We can using platforms such as Zoom, Google, and others. So in culture workshop, we need to socialize new project to stakeholders because all key stakeholders must be introduced into the process. And also we need to convince all the stakeholders that the investment is worthwhile and will bring the desire to the organization. And the second point is we need to fully educated operators because they will have new roles and responsibilities. And we can use self-paced online learning. We can using email as reminders, and we can routinely recognize and celebrate both individual and group improvement achievements in performance quality. And also we need to communicate because communication is the important thing to improve our culture's company because with communicating we can spread the words and help to remind the other stakeholders so we can achieve our goals to improve the culture from paper-based to digital form. We can use social media and direct mail to continuously reach stakeholders. And the thing we need to remember is culture is always a work in progress, so keep talking about it. And the last point is check and review. So we can use the concept of Gemba Walk. Gemba Walk is viewed as continuous improvement, creating a listening pause and also allow site leadership to spread clear message using open and honest dialogue and get a real indication of the progress of behavioral change at all levels. So how to implement and execute Gemba Walk is we can train all Gemba Walkers, but due to the condition, we can use the group chat. And also important to identifying and following up on improvement actions. We need to identify and continuous improvement opportunities because it is critical to record commitments and agree actions. So, for example, you can record like what stakeholders doing, what they action, date, target date, owner, status, comments.
For the project timeline, we have listed the tentative activities and tentative schedule. So we have given priority to the identification of bottlenecks in the processes, time and motion studies, vendor selection and qualification as part of the Q1 2001 activities. Other activities such as people involvement and development, the assessment of the whole system, will be run throughout the whole duration of the project. Installation and beta testing of the EBR system will begin halfway of the Q1. Training of the people will commence Q2 of 2001. For the SWOT analysis of our EBR system, the primary strength of the system would be compliance, reduction in errors, streamlined ability to trace the actions since everything is recorded in the electronic batch records, simultaneous generation of documentation, which will help in the annual product review. For the weakness, of course, we anticipate high cost. The digital infrastructure of the company still requires maturity. And then the revision of the EBR relies on the QA and should be timely. For the threats, primary threat would include security. For the people, the operators may need extended guidance in using the system, but this has been previously addressed in the culture part. Finally, silos and gaps may not be addressed during the planning stage. For opportunities, it was mentioned that there is a strong management commitment to digitalization, and it is also possible to establish automation in the production procedures using the IoT. For the records, it is reviewed based on exception rather than as a whole. That ends the presentation. Thank you.